Hello there, my name is Payal Narayani and welcome to this video series. यहाँ हम कवर कर रहे हैं पूनम दलाल दहिया की एंशिएंट एंड मेडिवल इंडिया की 3rd एडिशन, जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है. इस किताब को हम ट्रूली रीड करेंगे और जहाँ ज़रूरत पड़ेगी वहाँ हम साथ ही साथ UPSC एंड स्टेट सर्विसेज में आए हुए प्रीवियस ईयर के क्वेश्चंस भी डिस्कस करेंगे. एंड इस सीरीज़ में वीडियोज़ लगभग 30 to 35 मिनट्स के होंगे, बड़े इफेक्टिव होंगे और हम ऑलमोस्ट 40 to 45 लेक्चर्स में ये पूरी किताब कवर करेंगे. और अगर आपने ये सीरीज़ 3 to 4 टाइम्स देख ली तो बिल्कुल ये किताब आपके दिमाग में छप जाएगी एंड ट्रस्ट मी, आपकी एक्यूरेसी भी काफ़ी इंक्रीज़ हो जाएगी. साथ ही साथ आपका रिवीजन भी काफ़ी आसान हो जाएगा. सो अगर आपको रिवीजन के साथ साथ वैल्यू एडिशन भी करना है तो ये सीरीज़ पूरी फॉलो करें. आपको बस आपके पास ये किताब रखकर मुझे सुनना है एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स मार्क करने हैं. So without any further delay, let's get started. Hello there, welcome back to the channel Ghatna Sutra. यहाँ हम कवर कर रहे हैं पूनम दलाल दहिया की एंशिएंट एंड मेडिवल इंडिया 3rd एडिशन, जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है. और हम आज शुरू कर रहे हैं विद द रूलर संभाजी फ्रॉम द चैप्टर लेटर मुगल्स, द मराठास एंड द अदर प्रोविंशियल किंगडम. एंड बिफोर वी मूव अहेड विद दिस टॉपिक, आप इसको ट्रिपल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए क्योंकि इसके ऊपर UPSC में 2000 में सवाल पूछा गया था एंड UPPCS में 2005 में इसके ऊपर सवाल पूछा गया था. राइट, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट. संभाजी 1681 to 1689 CE. Many Maratha chiefs did not support Sambhaji and instead lent support to Rajaram, the other son of Shivaji. The internal conflict weakened Maratha power. Was nicknamed as Kolusha, meaning instigator of strife. Prince Akbar, the rebellious son of Aurangzeb, took shelter with him and in pursuing battle of Sangameshwar in 1689 CE. He was defeated by Mughal commander Mubarak Khan and was killed along with his personal counsellor Kavi Kalash. Widow of Sambhaji, Yesubai could not protect the fort of Raigarh and she along with her son Shahu were made prisoners. Ramraj. Star mark the topic of Ramraj क्योंकि इसके ऊपर सवाल UPPCS की एग्जामिनेशन में 2005 में आया था. एंड यूजुअली ये जो क्वेश्चंस स्टेट सर्विसेज की एग्जामिनेशन में पूछे जाते हैं ऑन द रूलर, ये एक तो टाइमलाइन के ऊपर आते हैं या दे जस्ट आस्क कि विच रूलर एग्जिस्टेड व्हेन. ठीक है, क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर के ऊपर. सो मेक श्योर यू रिमेंबर द क्रोनोलॉजी ऑफ द रूलर्स एंड द डायनेस्टीज एज वेल, टाइमलाइन के साथ में. ठीक है. Rajaram, the younger brother of Sambhaji, who never sat on the throne, as he claimed that he was ruling on behalf of Shahu, shifted his headquarters to Jinji. After the Mughal conquered Jinji, he fled to Vishalgarh and then to Satara, giving Hukumat Panha, king status, to Peshwa Ramchandra Pant. During his reign, devotee Maratha leaders like Ramchandra Pant, Prahlad Niraji, and Danaji Jadhav created havoc amongst Mughals. Died in 1700 CE. His widow Tarabai assumed the control in the name of her infant son Shivaji II. Around the same time, Shahu was released by Zulfikar Khan, hoping for a civil war among Marathas. As expected, the Mughals succeeded in dividing the Marathas into two rival camps, one under Tarabai and the other under Sambhaji's son Shahu. Tarabai sent Dhanaji Jadhav to oust Shahu from Maharashtra, but Dhanaji was won over by Shahu. In 1707, with the help of Chitpavan Brahmin named Balaji Vishwanath, Shahu was successful in defeating Tarabai at the Battle of Khera and went away to Kolhapur, establishing a royal house of Kolhapur. Shahu. Star mark the topic of Shahu क्योंकि इसके ऊपर UPPCS में 2005 में सवाल आया था, साथ ही 1997 में भी आया था. Shahu, 1707 to 1749 CE. During his reign, the state of Satara and Kolhapur came into being. By 1710, the two separate principalities had become an established fact, eventually confirmed by the Treaty of Varna in 1731 CE. The period was also marked by the excedency of the lineage of Chitpavan Brahmin ministers who held the title of Peshwa, chief ministers, and virtually came to control the central authority of the Maratha state, reducing the Bhosles to a mere figureheads. In fact, the first truly prominent figure of this line was Balaji Vishwanath, who had helped Shahu in his rise of power. In 1719, Shahu, under the advice of Peshwa Balaji Vishwanath, assisted the Syed brothers in the execution of Farrukhsiyar and got his mother released. Soon after, he declared Swaraj, the independence of Maratha land. Rajaram II, Rajaram 1749 to 1777 CE. So star mark the topic of Rajaram क्योंकि इनके ऊपर UPPCS में 2005 में सवाल आया था. Adopted son of Shahu, who was presented by Tarabai as the grandson of Rajaram and herself to grab the power from Shahu's death. After being sidelined, she stated that he was only an impostor. However, Peshwa Bajirao retained him as a tutorial Chhatrapati. The power of Chhatrapati was almost totally overshadowed by that of the Peshwa. Royal House of Kolhapur. Shivaji II, 1710 to 1714 CE, son of Queen Tarabai and Rajaram, was under the regency of Queen Tarabai. Sambhaji II, 1714 to 1760 CE, son of Rajaram from his second wife Rajabai, who deposed Shivaji II and Tarabai. He signed a treaty of Varna in 1731 and, with his cousin Shahu, formalized the two separate seats of the Bhosle family. The British sent expedition against Kolhapur in 1765 CE and 1792 CE. However, after the collapse of Maratha Confederacy in 1812, the state eventually entered into a treaty with the British. Office of Peshwa, 1640 and 1818 CE. The word Peshwa probably originated in Persian meaning foremost and was introduced in the Deccan by a Muslim ruler. The duties of Peshwa were equal to that of a prime minister. Sonopant Dabir, 1640 to 1652 CE, the first unofficial Peshwa. Shampant Kulkarni Ranzekar, 1652 to 1657 CE, was Peshwa under Shahaji Bhosle. Moropant Trimbak Pingle, 1657 to 1683 CE, was appointed Peshwa by Chhatrapati Shivaji. Mureshwar Pingle, 1683 to 1689 CE, was a Peshwa under Sambhaji. Ramchandra Pant Amtya, 1689 to 1708 CE, Peshwa under Rajaram, and when Rajaram had to escape to Ginji in 1689 CE, he gave Hukumat Pant Singh status to a Pant before leaving. Was an able administrator as he managed the state under many challenges like the influx of Mughals, betrayal from Watandars, local straps under Marathas, and socio-economic challenges like the scarcity of food. Acted as a shadow proxy king and got military help from the great Maratha warrior Santaji Ghorpare and Dhanaji Jadhav. In 1698 CE, Rajaram offered the post of Peshwa to his wife Tarabai and he happily stepped down. Meanwhile, Tarabai gave him an important position in the senior administration of the Maratha state. Wrote Adhyana Patra, in which he explained different techniques of war, maintenance of forts and administration. So, Adhyana Patra is a book written by whom? Ramchandra Pant Amtya. ठीक है? Since he owed loyalty to Tarabai against Shahuji, he was sidelined after the arrival of Shahuji in 1707 CE. Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt, 1713 to 1790 CE. अब आप बालाजी विश्वनाथ भट्ट के टॉपिक को ट्रिपल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए क्योंकि इसके ऊपर यूपीएससी में 2000 में सवाल पूछा गया था, साथ ही यूपीपीसीएस में 2004 एंड 2023 में इनके ऊपर सवाल आया था. So triple star mark this topic, okay? He belonged to the Bhatt family of Sri Vardhan in the Konkan region. He is known in history for making the post of Peshwa hereditary and for making the position as one of the most important and powerful ones in the Maratha administration. He played a crucial role in civil war as he sought the support of all Maratha leaders for appointment of Shahu and thus helped Shahu become the Maratha ruler. In 1719 CE, Balaji Vishwanath was also successful in obtaining certain crucial Maratha rights from the then Mughal Emperor Farrukhsiyar, such as recognition of Shahus as a Maratha king and permission to collect Chauth and Sardeshmukhi from the 6 Mughal provinces of the Deccan, including the Carnatic and Mysore. The Chapekar brothers and Nana Sahib belonged to this family, negotiated with Kanoji Angre, Admiral of the Navy and an ally of Tarabai, and gradually succeeded in winning over Kanoji to become the Admiral Sarkhel of Shahu's navy, assisted Sayyid brothers in dethroning Farooq Siyar from Delhi. Balaji Bajirao I. It's Bajirao I. 1720 to 1740 CE. इस टॉपिक को आप सिंगल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए क्योंकि इनके ऊपर UPPCS में 2023 में सवाल पूछा गया था. Eldest son of Balaji Vishwanath, who succeeded him as a Peshwa at the young age of 20. He was the most famous of all 9 Peshwas and also known as Torail, meaning elder Bajirao. He was one of the greatest exponent of guerrilla tactics after Shivaji. During his lifetime, he never lost a battle and the Maratha power reached its zenith under him. He formulated the policy of northward expansion so that the Maratha flag would fly from Krishna to Attok. He preached and popularized the idea of Hindu Padchi, Hindu empire, and secured the support of Hindu chiefs against the common enemy, the Mughals. The arch rival in the Deccan was Nizam ul-Mulk, who continuously plotted intrigues with the Rajas of Kolhapur against Bajirao and Shahu. Bajirao, however, defeated the Nizam on both occasions when they fought at Palkhed and Bhopal, and compelled him to grant Chaut and Sardesh Mukhi of the 6 provinces of Deccan. In 1722, he captured Salsette and Bassein from the Portuguese. He shifted the administrative capital from Satara to Pune in 1728 CE. 2 famous lines pertaining to him are Shahu to Bajirao, "You are a worthy son of a worthy father." Bajirao to Shahu, "Let us strike at the root and the branches will fall apart themselves." He initiated the system of confederacy among the Maratha chiefs. Under this system, each Maratha chief could administer his assigned territory autonomously. Consequently, many Maratha families became prominent and established their authority in different parts of India. They were the Gaikwads of Baroda, Bhosles of Nagpur, Holkars of Indore, Sindhyas at Gwalior, and the Peshwas of Pune. Balaji Bajirao I / Nana Sahib I, 1740 to 1761 CE. अब आप बालाजी बाजीराव के टॉपिक को सिंगल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए क्योंकि इसके ऊपर UPPCS में 2007 एंड 2004 में क्वेश्चन आया था. ठीक है. Balaji Bajirao succeeded his father as a Peshwa at the young age of 19 and was appointed as a Peshwa by Shahuji. It was during his reign the Maratha king Shahu died in 1749 CE without an issue. His nominated successor Ram Raja was even though accepted by Balaji Bajirao, but gradually the supreme power of Maratha confederacy passed into the hand of Peshwas by the Sangola Agreement, 1750 CE. He defeated Bengal Nawab Alivardi Khan and about 1/3 of the Indian subcontinent came under the rule of Marathas. In 1752 CE, the Peshwa entered into an agreement with the Mughal emperor. According to this agreement, the Peshwa gave assurance to the Mughal emperor that he would protect the Mughal empire from internal and external enemies, for which the Chaut of the northwest province and the total revenue of Agra and Ajmer provinces would be collected by the Marathas. Honoring the agreement only, Maratha fought the Third Battle of Panipat, 1761 CE, with Ahmad Shah Abdali, invaded India. However, in this battle, Marathas were defeated and many Maratha leaders and soldiers died. Unable to cope up with the defeat and the loss of his son, Vishwas Rao, and his brother, Sadashiv Rao Bhau, Balaji Bajirao soon after died. The defeat of Panipat not only checked the expansion of Maratha but also fragmented the empire, since after the battle, Maratha never fought again, one as a unit. Meanwhile, the branches of Bhosle family relocated to Kolhapur and Nagpur, while the main line remained in the Deccan heartland at Satara. Madhav Rao, 1761 to 1772 CE, was a remarkable Peshwa who witnessed a short period of 11 years restored the lost fortune of the Maratha Empire. He not only defeated the Nizam but also compelled the Hyder Ali of Mysore to pay tribute, while reasserting control over North India by defeating the Rohillas and subjugating the Rajput states and Jat chiefs. In 1772 CE, he brought back Emperor Shah Alam to Delhi. saw the division of Maratha kingdom into semi-independent states. Of these, the most important were the Gaikwads, the Holkars and the Scindias. Raghunath Rao, 1772 to 1773 CE. After Madhav Rao's death, 1772 CE, struggle for power ensued between Raghunath Rao and the younger brother Nana Sahib and Narayan Rao, the younger brother of Madhav Rao. Narayan Rao, 1772 to 1773 CE. He was killed on Raghunath Rao order in 1773. Raghunath Rao, 1773 to 1774 CE, seized the throne but was not recognized by the emperor and overthrown. Savai Madhav Rao, 1774 to 1795 CE, son of Narayan Rao, who was merely 40 days old when crowned as a Peshwa. The empire was managed by Nana Fadavnis, an able administrator and warrior par excellence, with the help of 12 members Regency Council called as Barabhai Council. Out of frustration, Raghunath Rao went to British for help, which resulted in the First Anglo-Maratha War. Highlight this, ठीक है? First Anglo-Maratha War किस रीज़न की वजह से हुई थी? Because Raghunath Rao went to British for help, ठीक है? And it happened in 1775 to 1782 CE. At the famous Battle of Talegaon, 1776 CE, Nana Fadavnis defeated the British, and the famous Treaty of Purandar, 1776 CE, and the Treaty of Salabai, 1782 CE were signed. The treaty virtually restored the status quo, expected the fact that the English retained Salisit and dropped the cause of Raghunath Rao. It was after death of Nana Fadavnis in 1800 CE that Maratha could not sustain against the British and could never regain their past glory. Bajirao II. सो डबल स्टार मार्क बाजीराव 2 के टॉपिक को, क्योंकि इसके ऊपर बीपीएससी में 1996 में सवाल आया था, साथ ही यूपीपीसीएस में 2012 में इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आया था, ठीक है. बाजीराव 2, 1796 to 1818 CE, son of Raghunath Rao and the last Peshwa, weakest and the most incompetent Peshwa, who signed a humiliating treaty, the Treaty of Bassein, with the British, 1802 CE, which gave the British effective control of not only the Maratha region but also of Deccan and the Western India. He was defeated by the East India Company in the Third Anglo-Maratha War in 1818 CE, after which he was pensioned off and the Peshwa's territory in central Maharashtra was annexed to the British East India Company's Bombay province. Later, his adopted son Nana Sahib, alias Dondu Pant, participated in the famous revolt of 1857 against the British. However, even the Maratha could not succeed in preventing the establishment of British power in India. One of the important reasons behind this was there was a lack of unity among the Maratha chiefs. Also, in comparison with British, their army was ill-equipped and still relied on the old fighting methods. Maratha Confederacy. Peshwa of Pune. We have discussed this already above. The Gaikwads of Baroda. Gaikwad had gathered prominence in 1720 CE. Initially, they were subordinated not only to the Bhosles but also to the powerful Tabare family. But after the death of Shahu, the power of the Peshwas were further enhanced, thereby improving the position of Gaikwads by the early 1750s. Peshwa recognized their rights on the large portion of the revenues of Gujarat. Gaikwads thus established their capital at Baroda. Gradually, in 1752 CE, they expelled the Mughal governor of Gujarat province from the capital, Ahmedabad, which eventually resulted in the realignment in the network of trade and consumption in the area. One of the most prominent ruler was Damaji, 1768 CE, who was later succeeded by Fateh Singh, 1771 to 1789 CE. Fateh Singh broke out of the hold of the Peshwas in the late 1770 and early 1780s and negotiated a settlement with the English East India Company, which eventually led to increased British interference in his affair. Thus, by 1800 CE, instead of the Peshwa, the British were the final arbiters in determining the succession among the Gaikwad, who eventually became their subordinate rulers in the 19th century. It is pertinent to mention that Sayaji Rao belonged to this dynasty, gave scholarship to Dr. Ambedkar. Holkars of Indore. The Holkars achieved marked and rapid rise in the status and wealth in a short span of time. Though starting initially with a very little political power, the Holkars consolidated their position at Indore by the 1730s, under the able guidance of the prominent ruler Malhar Rao Holkar, who secured a large share of Chauth collection in Malwa, eastern Gujarat and Khandesh. Later, his successor too consolidated and spread the hold of Holkars, along with controlling the important trade routes as well as the crucial trading centers of Burhanpur. One of such prominent successors was called iconic Ahilya Bai, his son's widow, who ruled Indore from 1765 to 1794 CE and brought great glory to the Holkars. Bhosles of Nagpur. The Bhosles of Nagpur were clearly subordinated to the Satara ruler, an important ruler from the line of Raghuji Bhosle, 1727 to 1755 CE, who was responsible for the Marathas' incursion on Bengal and Bihar in 1740 and early 1750. He occupied Orissa from Nawab Alivardi Khan. सिंध्याज ऑफ ग्वालियर. अब इनके ऊपर MPPCS की एग्जामिनेशन में 2010 में क्वेश्चन आया था. सो हाईलाइट दिस, स्टार मार्क दिस टॉपिक. सिंध्याज ऑफ ग्वालियर. In the decade following the Third Battle of Panipat, 1761 CE, the Scindias carved a prominent place for themselves in the North India. Like the Holkars, the Scindias were also based largely in the central India, first at Ujjain and later from the last quarter of the 18th century in Gwalior. The family fortune were consolidated during the long reign of Maharji Scindia, 1761 to 1794 CE, who was an effective and innovative military commander. He organized a powerful European-style army employing a large number of European officers, soldiers and gunners and consisting equally of Hindus and Muslim soldiers. He also established his own ordnance factories near Agra. In the mid-1780s, the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II made him the Nawab-e-Munib, meaning deputy regent of his affairs, and thus his influence was noticed not only across the province of Delhi and Agra but also in Rajasthan and Gujarat, making him the most formidable Maratha leaders of that era. It is believed that even the officials of the East India Company were cautiously in dealing with him. However, his relation with the acting Peshwa Nana Fadavnis of Pune and the Holkars of Indore were fraught with tensions. The momentum generated by Maharji could not be unfortunately maintained by his successor, Daulat Rao Sindhia, 1794 to 1827 CE, who was defeated by the British and forced to surrender the territories. An interesting point to note here is that Mughal system of honours and titles as well as Mughal-derived administrative terminologies and physical practices continued despite the decline of imperial power. Even in the face of Mughal decline, Mughal symbols had a special significance. For instance, after recapturing Gwalior from the British, Maharji Sindhia took special care to have his control of the town sanctioned by the Mughal emperor. Equally, he zealously guarded the privilege and the title granted to him by Shah Alam, such as Amir-ul-Umra, head of the Amirs, and Naib-Waki-e-Mulk, deputy regent. In this case, he was not alone, as instances of state that were wholly threw off all pretense of alliance to the Mughals are found rarely in the 18th century. Shivaji's administration. Shivaji was a great administrator who laid the foundation of sound system of administration. The administrative system of the Marathas was very much influenced by the administrative system of the Mughals and the Deccani state, adopted by Malik Ambar of Ahmednagar and Muhammad Gawan of Bahmani kingdom. The Maratha kingdom was also known as Swarajya or Mulk-e-Khatam, central administration. King was the pivot of the agreement, who was assisted by council of ministers called the Ashtapradhan. Each one headed a department and was directly responsible to Shivaji. It is also pertinent to note that under Shivaji, these offices were neither hereditary nor permanent and were also frequently transferred. अष्टप्रधान, हाईलाइट दिस, ठीक है। यहाँ पे इन टर्म्स के आपको मीनिंग याद रखने होंगे, ठीक है, एंड मार्क दिस इम्पॉर्टेंट। पेशवा, पंत प्रधान, who looked after finances and general administration. Later, the office of Peshwa became more powerful and functioned more as a prime minister. Initially, there was also great focus on intelligence, and centralized intelligence department was created. Sare Naubat or Senapati, military commander and honorary post. Amtya, Majumdar, accountant general. Vaknavis, intelligence and police post, historical archives and household affairs. Surnavis or Chitnis or Sachiv, general secretary who also overlooked official correspondence. Sumant Dabir, master of ceremonies and foreign affairs. Nyayadhish, justice. Pandit Rao, charities and ecclesiastical affairs. Hierarchy of the officers from top to bottom was Peshwa, Majumdar, Sachiv and Mantri. It is pertinent to note that all the ministers except Pandit Rao and Nyayadhish participated in war. The Ashtapradhan was not a creation of Shivaji. Many of these officers such as Peshwa, Majumdar, Vakainavis, Dabir, Surnavis had existed earlier under the Deccani ruler too. Each of the Ashtapradhan was assisted by 8 assistants, namely Diwan, Majumdar, Furnace, used to respond to the letters of commanders of the fort. Subnis, Karkhanis, Chitnis dealt with all diplomatic correspondence and wrote all royal letters. Jamadar and Potnis looked after the income and expenditure of the royal treasury. Prants, provinces. Subedar, governor supervised by Sur Subedar. Then we have Tarfs, district. Havaldar, law and order. Then we have Parganas, sub-district. Deshpande, accountant and record keeper. And Deshmukhs, law and order. Moza, village. Kulkarni, accountant and record keeper. And Patil, law and order. Provincial and local administration. The provincial administration was also patterned largely on the Deccani and the Mughal system. Shivaji recognized and renamed certain provinces. The provinces were known as Prants, which were under the charge of Subedar. The Subedars used to control and supervise the work of the Subedar. After Prants came the Tarfs, which were headed by Havaldar. Mauzas or villages were lowest unit of the administration. The police officer in rural areas were called as Faujdar and in urban areas were called as Kotwals. Under the Marathas, performance-based Brahmin elites called Kamvishadar manned the central bureau and local administration and used to enjoy wide power of tax assessment and collection. They kept record, educated cases and provided information about the local condition to the superior officials. Interestingly, the office of British District Collector was modelled on Kamavishtar. So that's all for the day. In the next lecture, we'll start with army. So keep on watching Ghatna Sutra. See you next time.